All right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions. Continue our retro pay-per-view review series. It's gonna be a Christmas special, so Merry Christmas to everybody. This is gonna be Starrcade 1998. Your host Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everybody. I hope you all have a safe and wonderful time with your families. Let's get into this special. This was December 27th, 1998 from Washington, D.C. It had a jam-packed main event. Um, you could pretty much say they tried to one-up themselves from the year before. Playing a game of can you top this? So you go from Hogan and Sting now to Nash and Goldberg with the streak and the title on the line. Um, Roughly about 16,000 on hand for this. For the most part, the crowd was they were into the last few matches. There were a couple that I believe didn't belong on the card, but there were some pretty exciting matches. So let's get into it. Our opening match was for the WCW Cruiserweight title in a triangle match. It was Billy Kidman defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrero of the LWO. And this match was high flying as it always is with these guys. Billy Kidman, he pulled off his shooting star press during this match. I like how, for the most part, Mysterio and Kidman in the beginning of the match they were trying to take out Hoovy. I thought that was cool. But of course, Eddie Guerrero makes his way down to the ring during this match. And what's funny is he comes down, he gets into it with Mysterio, and then Kidman winds up pinning Juventud Guerrero to keep the Cruiserweight Championship. But that's not going to be the end of the night for Kidman. As he walked off, Eddie Guerrero was chastising both men. I believe Mysterio, I don't know if he was in LWO or he was and he resented it, because I know he stepped on the LWO towel or whatever when he came out.
LWO was so stupid.
It was, and well, you had how many renditions throughout wrestling? You had the BWO too.
It was just too much.
Everybody was trying to copy the great NWO.
Yeah, I think they were trying to get him into the LWO. I don't even remember. Somebody in the comment section, if you guys remember, because I don't. This is hazy. But
this one is, yeah.
The thing about this was good because all those guys could work and they were all cruiserweights, high flyers, and stuff. It's just that it just went on a little bit too long for my taste.
Yeah, it was about roughly 15-minute match. Felt longer.
No, I'm talking about both of them between Kevin combined. I mean, how long was that?
Oh yeah, you're talking about almost half an hour.
Yeah, it just went on a little bit too long.
Yeah, and what we're talking about is that Eddie Guerrero, after he chastised both guys, calls out Billy Kidman saying, I can do this. I'll do this myself.
Yeah.
He challenges Billy Kidman to come back and put the Cruiserweight title on the line against Guerrero. Unfortunately, it didn't work for Guerrero because Kidman walked away once again, retaining the title. And it's funny because Mysterio got involved again in this one. Kidman with the shooting star press beats Eddie Guerrero, and he's walking off still the Cruiserweight champion. So,
but he's actually the real champion because of he had this girl. What's her name?
Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson was the girlfriend.
Oh yeah, and this is the pay-per-view that if you see these in a bunch of memes and articles, this is the one where they first shot Stacy Keibler.
Oh, when she had the Wolfpack shirt?
Yeah, this is the card. It's later on in the night where they show her. They obviously don't say it because they don't know who she is. But yeah, she's in the crowd. They put the camera.
Well, I think she was a plant. I'm pretty sure she was a plant at that point. They had her.
Well, I think she was about 18 at the time.
Yeah, well, she was. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would only have to assume that it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a coincidence,
But you're right about Kidman, man. He was definitely the winner with Tori. Oof. Still to this day, she looks pretty good too.
She looks like a completely different person now, though.
Yes, she does. Since
I didn't even recognize her.
Yeah,
she looks great, but she doesn't look like the same person.
I'm still now and forever will be a Lita person. I
like Stacy Keibler. That was my girl.
Lita and Trish.
I met Lita in an airport once.
You didn't take her
very,
home?
very briefly. No, I just said hi to her. I was like,
I don't want to be like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
She was just probably happy I recognized her.
I also like Mickie James too.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick, it's definitely, I was always a Lita girl ever since she got to WWE. Our next match is one of those ones I'm talking about that really didn't belong on the card. It was Prince Iaukea versus Norman Smiley and his Wiggle,
Yeah,
which
nobody
was
cared.
yeah, exactly.
He probably wasn't into this.
He's doing it up in the aisle where there's a bunch of kids standing there, and he starts doing it. And I'm like, bro,
That's just weird.
he's weird. I mean, this match was
The hell was he doing on a pay-per-view?
Norman Smiley without it being for a hardcore title. I have no idea.
The hell was
This
he
is the
doing?
second Starrcade that he's on because remember he was in the Pat O'Connor
Yeah, but
tournament.
that's understandable though, because it was about different countries and he was representing
Yeah, but
England.
why
Okay,
he's
that's
on
fine.
there now?
Why he's on this pay-per-view? Who
That's
the
what I'm
hell
saying.
knows?
Why is some of these? Because this pay per view is lacking Sting, Savage, Hogan, and I know I'm missing and Luger.
Macho.
Yeah,
Well,
Luger,
how about
Savage,
Brett?
Sting.
Brett doesn't wrestle on this.
No, he doesn't. He makes his appearance, but he's not
Yeah.
on the card either. No Booker T, no Steiners. It's like what's going on here? You got
Uh,
but
the
this is
Sting
supposed to be
thing, Sting
your
was hurt. To be fair, Sting was hurt. Macho Man was hurt.
Hogan's playing the retirement
Hogan
gimmick
retired.
with the president running for
Yeah.
president.
But you got Norman friggin' Smiley.
Yeah, but and Luger was there. He was there,
Yeah.
and so was the
Warren
Steiners. I
Fubu.
mean,
Warren
yeah,
Fubu.
I saw that. He was trying to help Conan when
Yeah.
Steiner got into his face. I mean, this is supposed to be your big pay per view of the year, and you've got this. This is like waiting for the invasion of WCW from Amazon, but you get the wish list guys.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. Norman Smiley gets the win by submission in this one for in 11 minutes 31 seconds,
Yeah,
which
chicken wing, right? Yeah,
was
like a variation of the chicken wing.
yeah, Bob Backlund's chicken wing. It looked like he had a little difficulty putting it on, but he executed it, and Prince Iake tapped out, and then I don't know. Okay,
Moving
the
on.
next match because I actually like this guy because he was good on the microphone. Ernest the Cat Miller with Sonny Ono taking on Perry Saturn,
Yeah, but
and
what the
Ernest
hell was
Miller's
he
always
doing on the hell was he doing on the pay-per-view?
Ernest Miller or
I thought he
Sonny.
was entertaining, but
He
what
was later
this
on,
is a Monday Nitro match.
yes. And this is one of those ones that Sonny Ono accidentally gets involved and hits Ernest Miller. Perry Saturn puts him in the DVD. Death Valley Driver gets the pin, and then all of a sudden, Ernest Miller now is on the outs with Sonny Ono.
No.
Sonny Ono to me was I don't know. Anytime you walk by that guy, you need to check your pockets, make sure your wallet's still there.
It was a good heel manager. I liked him.
He was.
This is
He was.
before
Go ahead.
this is before Scott Hall before or after Scott Hall comes out, because I know Scott Hall he comes out, he starts saying how
Yeah,
he
this was
had a bad year.
After the Norman Smiley match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott Hall gave the speech. But the next year is going to be his year. Not quite, but
No, this is where I think the issues really started getting to him with the drinking and stuff.
well, this is why he's not on the card, according to Bischoff. He said that he couldn't trust him at that point because he was having all those problems that he was nervous about putting him into some sort of a program and then something going wrong. He had gotten into a bunch of car accidents too. I think they said he got into 4 car accidents in 1998, something like that. So
Yeah, he was really in bad shape.
downward spiral.
Yeah, unfortunately. After the All-Star 5-star match between Saturn and Miller, Ric Flair got interviewed about his match later on that night against Eric Bischoff. I love how they did the heart attack gimmick. That was fun.
And then they
But
had changed. Remember they said that he was poisoned. I think that's what the storyline was. At first he had a heart attack, and then later on it was revealed that Bischoff poisoned him.
what I don't think I couldn't understand with this match is all 4 horsemen were barred from ringside, but yet the NWO can just run roughshod throughout the arena. I didn't understand that. So obviously what's going to happen later on when they have that match. So next match after that, speaking of the NWO, it was Fit Finley and Jerry Flynn versus Brian Adams and Scott Norton
So
with Vince at ringside. This is a Thunder match.
This is yeah, it is a Thunder match.
If not Saturday night.
Yeah.
This match, I really had a hard time staying awake for because again, it's just these 4 guys and watching Brian Adams going to be NWO for life, and I'm like, bro, really? Weren't you like Crush like beginning of this year? I mean, this Adams and Norton get the victory. Scott Norton pinned Jerry Flynn. But again, it was just like another match that just did not belong on the card.
No.
But it is what it is. Our next match was actually pretty interesting. It was for the television championship. It was Conan defending the title against Chris Jericho with Ralphus. And Jericho actually had the possession of the TV title.
Jericho was funny, man.
He was. He did anything and everything he could to better his character because he knew once he was a free agent that his value would go up, and he knew where he wanted to be. He wanted to be WWE. But I love how it took how long before Bischoff even knew what Jericho was doing.
Yeah.
Especially the skit with Goldberg. Bischoff didn't even realize he was doing it. And then when he finally did, he's like, "Oh no, we can't have this." And then Goldberg said, "I can't be I won't work with somebody half my size," which is why later on in WWE, Jericho made him look bad in the match that they had because he wouldn't sell any of the moves that the fans were actually booing him. So, but I mean, this match was good. I loved Ralphus. He was funny to watch, and it was funny in WWE when Jericho had Fink being the new Ralphus. But in any event, Conan actually gets the victory. He gets his title back from Jericho. He used the Tequila Sunrise to make Jericho submit. This was Jericho pretty much. This was on his last leg because he would be out, I think, about 6 months later. Because obviously the next year he went to WWE. Let me jump back there for a little bit, just for one second. After the Bryan Adams match, then they interviewed Eric Bischoff about the upcoming match. And of course, listening to him, it's fanboy here, not I don't know. I sort of like Bischoff in that character.
Bischoff. I loved him as a heel.
Oh, he
was good at getting heat. He was really good at getting heat.
I always said back then he was the one guy, the one and only guy that could put Vince out of business. But his only problem back then was he cared too much about the ratings on Nitro and not anything else, not his pay-per-views, not anything. And we've talked about how he dropped the ball with Hogan and Goldberg on pay-per-view. But he just a card like this, he didn't. This is a Nitro right here, and his Nitro should be the pay per view every week because you always have the bigger, exciting matches. Then so all he cared about was the ratings at that point.
Yeah, because going into this, you had that triple threat match: Bam Bam Bigelow, Kevin Nash, and Goldberg. It was on Nitro.
Yep, so that's something like you can put on a pay per view.
Yeah, you don't.
Because I remember when Bam Bam came in, the first thing he did was calling out Goldberg, and it was a good storyline build up between the two.
Yeah, it was.
And then they're having the fight in the back. It's funny watching Terry Taylor trying to break them up. Yeah. And it says, "You guys are going to settle it in the ring." And they had the match on Nitro. I remember watching it. But yeah, that should have been on a pay-per-view. I agree. Our next match after the TV title now was Ric Flair getting back into the ring after several months against Eric Bischoff. And this match was actually shorter than I thought it would be. This was only a 7-minute match. I didn't see Flair getting as much revenge on Bischoff as I guess the fans thought he would get. Like, we thought he'd just, for pillar to post, just beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, I mean, because they actually had real heat because Bischoff had fired him. So I remember he sent them home, and he said a lot of bad things about Flair backstage.
And wasn't 1998 the year he was negotiating his contract too, which is why he was off the air? I believe it was.
What happened in 98 was that he wanted to take some time off, I think, to see his son wrestle or something like that. And Bischoff refused to give him the time off. And so then Flair ends up going, I guess, to see his son wrestle. And he basically suspended him, I think. And it was a big thing. And then Flair sued, and it went on for a little while. That's why Flair's not in WCW NWO Revenge for N64. Yeah. They took him out of the game because of that.
I remember
Eventually, they brought him back. He cut that big promo where he's bleeding. He's like, "I hate your guts. I hate your..." Famous
night,
promo.
The night in the tuxedo, the Horsemen reuniting. I remember that. I watched it.
Yeah, but apparently he didn't take any liberties on Bischoff, and he didn't hurt him or anything like that. Even though he really, really hated him.
I never understood. No, go ahead. Finish.
No, it was just I as much as I like Bischoff and the whole karate thing. It's a little I thought that was more of like a joke, but he actually did kind of kick Flair's ass in
Yeah,
spots, which
yeah, he did.
really shouldn't happen because he should be a chicken shit heel,
Yeah,
right? I
he
understand
should
him
be
winning.
he should be running from Flair,
Yeah, I
dodging
understand.
him instead of doing what he did.
Yeah, I understand him winning because he cheated, but he actually got some hits in on Flair, so I
Oh,
don't
not just
understand.
cheating. Little Nate, Charles Robinson got knocked out with a kick, and who comes down of all people? Kurt Hennig.
Granted, yeah.
And he helps Bischoff beat Flair, which
Hmm.
typical NWO. You know,
And
I
he
can
had just
never.
come back.
Yeah,
I think he was injured.
he had a nice suit on too. I did like
Yeah.
that. I never understood this about Flair because he said this in various documentaries after WCW closed their doors. How he couldn't wait till the day that this place went out of business. Yet during this time, he could have very easily asked for his release, and in all likelihood, Vince would have jumped at the opportunity to sign him. I never understood why he stuck around if he hated it that much. Because he said on his last Nitro, he was never so happy to see that place go out, but yet you never made the attempt to leave.
I think because he had guaranteed money.
Well, that would explain why he would stay then.
Yeah.
A lot of them
'Cause
had that.
yeah.
So, in any event, our next match was Diamond Dallas Page versus the Giant with DDP that was going to unveil a new type of
Yeah.
finisher. And it was just a diamond cutter off the top rope, people. Nothing to get excited about.
And this was a good match though.
It was.
DDP was
Any
over.
match in '97 and '98 for DDP was awesome.
Yeah, DDP
This
was
was
over.
this was coming out.
Diamond Cutter versus the Choke Slam.
And not to mention, you have to deal with the likes of Bret Hart coming out because they showed the storyline up that Bret challenged for the United States title. They screwed him out of the belt, so Bret's the U.S. champion. And of course, during this match, Bret comes out with the chair. And I didn't like when they had Bret heel for a minute in WCW. I didn't like it because now at the point I'm like, okay, you guys have no direction for this man.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for him. I know he took the money because he needed it, and whatever the case was. But I'm still thinking at this point, dude, you would have been so much better off in WWE at this point with whatever storyline they would have pitched you during the Attitude Era. This is not him. This is not what he should be doing. Um,
That was a waste of bread.
it really was, man. And I'm sorry he wasted his last 3-4 years there wrestling. And he could have just stayed in WWE, man. No matter who the matches that could have happened in WWE, him
No.
against Angle, The Rock, a rematch with Shawn if they would beat the hell out of each other. Austin still, I mean, it was endless what he could have done, and I really think he should have stayed.
He didn't have a choice. He got kicked
I
out.
thought he did, but it
Wasn't his choice. Didn't want to go.
Let's say at the end of '98, Brett decides I want to opt out of the contract. You don't think Brett? Well, obviously no. After what Vince and everything happened, I don't think he would have went back.
Exactly. So he comes in, he interferes in the match, but he screws up because he hits the Giant with the steel chair.
Yep. And DDP gets his super diamond cutter. It's funny because I was about to say Big Show. Not for another 2 months. The Giant wants to chokeslam him, but he wants to do it from the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's doing it, Page reverses it and does the super diamond cutter off the top rope and gets the pin on the Giant. Obviously, the Giant is going to be getting losses because he is. I'm pretty sure this was one of his last matches because, again, 2 months later he was gone in WWE.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So obviously he's going to get the loss here, but DDP gets another hard-fought victory. And again, '97 and '98 was really good years for
absolutely.
Page. '99 even wasn't bad for him either, but once 2000,
Nobody was watching. The
like,
problem was nobody was watching. That was the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Now for our main event. For the WCW Championship and no disqualification match, naturally. Goldberg defending the WCW title and the 173-0 streak versus Kevin Nash.
Once they said it was no DQ, you knew something was going to happen. You knew Goldberg was going to lose. It was a good build-up, though. I did like the way they built this up, and Kevin Nash was believable. And at this point, Kevin Nash is the second biggest babyface in the company. Mm-hmm. He's over as hell, and the Wolfpack is over as hell. So babyface versus babyface. Good build up. And we go into the match.
The match itself wasn't bad.
No, I thought the match was good.
They went back and forth. He speared him and whatnot, and then but of course,
The crowd was behind both of them too.
oh, nonstop. No, they never stopped cheering. But the problem in this match is once again you're getting the interference first from Disco Inferno, and then Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yep.
And then, of all people, Scott Hall with a cattle prod with a taser. What the hell is this?
This is like Bret Hart. This is like Bret Hart versus Diesel in the Royal Rumble.
Yes, when Backlund, Owen,
Sean.
Sean, and that was the only three.
Yeah,
they constantly kept coming
was Jared
down.
involved in that one?
Actually, yes, he did come. Right? I don't even know what the hell he was doing.
Broke 6,000 guitars, never drew a
dime.
dime. Yeah, so this was just a mess of an ending. Everybody knows the story. Scott Hall dressed up as security, uses the cattle prod, electrifies him. Nash never sees it.
Nope.
Then Nash
jackknife powerbomb, which he got him pretty good on that. He did.
And he got a huge pop. And he got a huge pop.
And then after he pins him, then he's wondering why Goldberg's the way he is. Like, what the hell just
All
happened?
over the place, falls out of the ring.
Yeah. I don't think this is how it should have went down. I think Nash should have won this cleanly.
Yeah, I think Nash should have won cleanly too. I understand the argument that you got to keep Goldberg strong. So the only way for Nash to beat him is to have some sort of interference. But I would have almost rather, Kevin Sullivan said this. He said that what they should have done was have Goldberg try to spear Nash, and Nash moves away at the last second, and he rams his shoulder into the post.
Yeah.
And then he jackknifes him and he wins.
Something like that would
Something like
worked.
that. You could have figured out another way. I don't mind the streak ending. Apparently, it was actually 156. Somebody actually has tabulated this. He was actually like 156-0. So they didn't exaggerate it that much. People say that they exaggerated it by a large.
Yeah, Jimmy Hart was interviewed saying that too.
Apparently, it was about 156-0, not 173. So that's not that far off.
Jimmy would say that we get to Monday Nitro and he's 56-0, and then we get to the following week and he's like 78-0, and he's like, where did you face 22 people in a week?
It wasn't that far off, and he actually did lose. He lost in the house. I think it was Mongol that beat him. Was it Mongol in a house show? Somebody beat him, but they just said, "Man, it never happened."
Well, that's just like how they said the Undertaker was undefeated, but they never counted the fact that the Ultimate Warrior beat him in a body bag match on a house show. So. Or the fact that Lance Storm beat Brock Lesnar on a house show, and they said he was undefeated going in to face The Rock, but Lance Storm did beat him.
Yeah. Oh well.
So it's all house shows; they don't count.
Either way, it's amazing how
second year in a row, biggest main event, and they blundered both of them,
and they botched the ending twice.
You didn't learn your mistakes from the year before,
and it only gets
worse about a week and a half later.
Yeah, we're not gonna really get into people know the story. We're gonna review it in another time in Hogan's episode when we finally
get to Hogan's 99 episode.
But this was not a good way to end the streak, I don't think. And this might be.
But of course, Goldberg played the politics. He gave you the political answer. He goes, would I have done it like this? No, but I wasn't the one in charge, so I can't tell you. He placated himself to where he didn't point the finger at anybody, but he said, I don't know what I would have done. But
what else is he supposed to say? He didn't have anything to do with booking. It wasn't his call.
Well, he could have said, is this the way I would have did it? Absolutely not. He kind of did say that, but he said, was it my place to say it? No.
Well, I mean, he probably felt that way. He was still early in the business. He probably didn't want to ruffle any feathers,
He was still sort of green, as you would call it back.
He was just doing what he was told at that point. He had probably confidence and he had faith in certain people that he probably shouldn't have. I don't know, but either way, it was a mess of an ending, and nobody wants to take credit for this. Like, I've watched countless interviews.
Some people said that Nash was booking back then, but like you had said, well, he didn't start till 99.
He didn't start till 99. He might have been in on the creative meetings and had some sort of input, but in terms of him actually being the booker, he was not the booker during this time period.
Kevin Sullivan, I know, was doing it around that time.
Apparently, it was a round table of people, but again, Bischoff has spoke about it. Sullivan, Nash. Nobody wants to take credit for the
Of
cattle
course
prod.
not.
Nobody.
Of course
Everyone's
not.
like, "Oh, it was all of us." Like, what does that mean? Somebody had to come up with that idea.
As
So
far
I
as
don't
Vince
know.
Russo hasn't said, yeah, it was me.
Yeah, we still
He
got
wants
to
to
give it
say
time,
everything
but
else.
um,
Nobody
I
wants
don't
to
know.
take credit for the biggest blunder of 1998, unfortunately.
No, so
And the biggest blunder of 1999 is coming about 2 weeks after
no,
this.
no, Jesus Christ. Yeah, but this was the beginning of the end. But
Yeah,
you
this
guys
is
make
another
sure to
nail in the coffin.
you guys make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care.